Okay, my dear students, I'm going to take you now to certain factors which has led to the emergence of psycholinguistic field. If you look at actually the development of psycholinguistics, you can find that there are certain factors which has led the emergence and even development of psycholinguistics. All right, and furthermore, even today, you can find that many other things actually are also being coming in psycholinguistics research, which further, double its importance there. All right. So therefore, it is very, very indeed a good field indeed, and it's obvious that all fields of human endeavor are always created out of a need to be met. All right. So actually, the need is still going on there, and the human mind, which is related to language, is very important there. So obviously, the need is continuing. However, we are going to just focus mostly, you see, on the factors here. All right. The factors that is one of the most important factors which is led actually to actually sociolinguistics and psycholinguistics there. Noam Chomsky's work in cognitive linguistics, right? One major factor is the work of Chomsky, and Aitchison asserts that a direct factor that affected actually the development of psycholinguistics is the impactful work of Chomsky in linguistics. And obviously his cognitive linguistics has really affected the way the field of psycholinguistics developed. And some other scholars like Weber also acknowledge the influence of Chomsky and the development of psycholinguistics. Okay, so actually, and moreover, the emergence and actually the growth of transformational generative grammar (TGG), which has obviously created some revolutions in the field of psycholinguistics. And basically this universal grammar, it tells us something that actually we have a structure of a noun phrase NP and a word phrase there, and actually a word phrase normally follows actually the noun phrase. So mostly it's similar, which requires separate detail there, which cannot be but anyhow, this transformation generative grammar which this Chomsky gave, this idea, obviously it has revolutionized the field. All right. This term has been used for Chomsky by Aitchison, inspired, you understand. So obviously this Chomsky, he really inspired great people, and his influence is still going on there. So in this wise, research into child language use became popular in that period. And Weber, the field, even he further says that the field began to suffer splintering and disillusionment from different scholars, and this led to a loss of focus. Many questions in research, for example, if you claim something, obviously, if you claim for research something which is unique and which is out of the box, and which doesn't come actually with the gamut, you see, of that given particular culture, research culture, so then obviously some questions coming there, and some even skeptical questions are also raised. And he actually notes that many of the Chomsky-inspired work couldn't be really given conclusive evidence to his theories and proposal. Most probably that is actually the major problem with the Chomsky-inspired work, which conclusive evidence is lacking just to justify his theories and proposal. And psychologists even became disillusioned with the fact The psycholinguistic focus was to test hypotheses advanced by theoretical linguistics. Naturally, the field of psycholinguistics began to suffer from such negative attitude. As such, recent years saw different people actually working with their mind on psycholinguistic study, but were diverse philosophical and traditional is their basis of approach. Another factor that we are going to move on is modularity of a language. All right. The concept of modularity, it means that the degree to which the lexicon, all right, the lexicon means the store words in English, vocabulary, syntax, all right, obviously you know syntax, arrangement of words in a sentence, and other neurocognitive domains operate independently of one another. He's played an important role in theorizing about brain architecture, and function, both in development and adulthood. So, despite the varying approaches to psycholinguistic study, it is generally agreed among the scholar that language is modular in nature. What this means is that Karmilov Smith, broadly speaking, modularity concerns the degree to which cognitive domains can be thought of as separable, whether they function independently of one another. So I hope that this concept is actually explained there, that whether they work and function separately, or they are actually they are work in unison. All right. So exactly what constitutes a module varies widely across disciplines and theoretical approaches. When one looks at Chomsky's work, a full description of the nature and manner in which these models interact is explained in detail. It is thus a firm base for psycholinguistic inquiry, as it exposes the manner in which these linguistic components operate among one another. And it could thus look this sentence that Chomsky remains an important factor in the way the field continues to develop over the year. I mean, Chomsky, what he has said, mostly is actually the rough base actually for the experimental researchers, though conclusive evidence is lacking what Chomsky has said, but still you cannot ignore Chomsky upon his sharp observation indeed, and because of intellectual strong bent, Chomsky has really revolutionized the field of linguistics. And Atchison, however, he actually, she notes that despite this apparent agreement among scholars on the modular nature of human speech, the integrations of the module has become a point of contest. There. So, my dear student, let me continue. Atchison, however, noticed that despite this apparent agreement among the scholar on the modular nature, of the human speech, the integration of the module has become a point of context among scholars of language. Some says in his theory and hypothesis, while another has a different one. So the agreement upon certain module is definitely a moot point. However, some scholars believe that these components are separate with links between them. So there are some links between the modules. Some links are there, but mostly they are independent. Others of the view that encapsulation is the watchword in which each module works automatically and independently, with its content sealed off from that of the module. And moreover, the issue nevertheless is that the scholarship doesn't have an end. You may therefore look at the two arguments above and research into which you think that mostly like in your own language. Remember, that the human language is universal in nature, and all of you are well aware of actually the nature of universalism. So, I mean, this clearly means that universality of language, that is actually quite established fact, and most of the scholars agree on it. And however, some scholars dispute over it. Some people, they do have their own assumptions indeed, so they try and they think otherwise. So you can just apply this principle to your own language and ascertain the veracity of this claim. Well, as I just said at the beginning there, that most of the researches, they have been carried in English language. Rather, we can say the English language is actually, English language is the most researched language. So mostly the data have come from English language. So we cannot, we cannot spread, this thought there to all the languages of the world. So if we have to see the veracity means confirmations, and it means whether it is true or not. So we cannot apply this thing on all languages. So this we have to look at that. Now I think these were some of the factors which have been discussed, which has really led this field, this psycholinguistics to be quite acceptable to the people there. So these were the major factors which have led to the emergence of psycholinguistics. And I'll move on now to historical model and theories of language acquisition. I'll be talking on it, and till that you have to go through these two lectures and you have to understand them very well. I hope that it works for you people.